In a world overwhelmed by information, we often mistake knowledge for wisdom. We believe that having access to more facts, more data, and more opinions means we are wise. But the ancients taught a different lesson, one that feels more relevant today than ever. Wisdom is not knowing everything. It is understanding enough. Socrates, the classical Greek philosopher, famously declared, "I know that I know nothing." At first glance, it sounds like a paradox. How can the wisest man in Athens claim to know nothing? But that statement held the very seed of wisdom. Socrates understood that wisdom begins with humility, the awareness of our limits, the recognition that the more we learn, the more we realize how little we actually know. Today, we are surrounded by noise, social media updates, breaking news, constant notifications, and a 24/7 stream of global content. In this environment, many feel the pressure to know everything, every trend, every opinion, every controversy. But ancient wisdom reminds us that true understanding doesn't come from consuming everything, but from contemplating the right things. Consider Confucius, the ancient Chinese philosopher. He believed that knowledge without reflection is a shallow endeavor. He said, "Learning without thought is labor lost. Thought without learning is perilous." It's not the number of books you read or facts you collect, but the quality of your reflection that shapes your wisdom. Confucius would likely urge us today to slow down, to think deeply, and to choose carefully what we give our attention to. The Stoics in ancient Rome, like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, also had a clear message: focus on what truly matters. Their philosophy teaches us to separate what is within our control from what is not, and to invest our energy only in what lies within our sphere of influence. Understanding this distinction is a form of wisdom that protects our mental health and keeps us grounded in a chaotic world. In our personal lives, this means accepting that we cannot know the answers to every problem. We don't need to have an opinion on every world issue or a solution to every dilemma. What we need is clarity. Clarity about our values, clarity about what we care about, and clarity about where we can make a difference. This understanding, this focus, is what defines a wise person in the modern age. Laotzu, the father of Taoist philosophy, offers another perspective. He said, "To know others is intelligence, to know yourself is true wisdom." In a world obsessed with external validation, likes, shares, followers, we often neglect the internal journey. Ancient wisdom tells us to turn inward. Understanding yourself, your fears, your patterns, your intentions, is more powerful than knowing every headline in the world. Even in matters of conflict and disagreement, this principle holds true. Today, debates are often won by those who shout the loudest or cite the most statistics. But ancient sages taught us to seek understanding before argument. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." This is not just spiritual advice, it's practical. When we understand our own emotions, our triggers, our biases, we can approach others with empathy rather than hostility. That understanding is the bedrock of human connection. Think of wisdom as a lantern, not a floodlight. It doesn't need to light up the entire world. It only needs to show you the next few steps. That's enough. You don't need to understand everything to make good decisions. You don't need all the answers to live with purpose. You only need to understand enough. Today, more than ever, we must resist the temptation to drown in data. We must return to the practice of discernment. Ask yourself, what do I truly need to know? What understanding will actually help me grow, love, serve, and live well? That's the real filter of wisdom. In your daily life, this might mean turning off the endless scroll and sitting quietly for a few minutes. It might mean reading one great book slowly instead of 10 forgettable ones quickly. It might mean having one meaningful conversation instead of 10 empty ones. It might mean asking yourself hard questions instead of seeking easy answers. Wisdom isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being the clearest, the most grounded, the most aware. And as the ancients knew, that awareness doesn't require knowing everything. It just requires understanding enough. So, in this age of noise, be the quiet voice of clarity. In this age of confusion, be the steady light of understanding. Because the world doesn't need more opinions. It needs more wisdom. And you don't need to be a sage to be wise. You just need to be awake, attentive, and honest with yourself and with others. That, in itself, is enough.